Alrighty, let's take a look here. We're gonna look at that number. I don't remember. Oh yeah, Kendra, page 229, number 32. I tried it before, but the sound didn't work, so moved pages. All right. So number 32, just finding what that equation is on there. So let's. Woo, not the whole highlighter. Goodness gracious, we're just going to start a new page. Okay, so on this one here, number 32, we have a couple different points. Again, actually, I'd probably say we're on page 229, number 32. So here we're just getting a couple of things. We have our two different coordinates. One is 2/3, comma 3/2, right? And the other one is -3, and then 5/6 after that. So here, if we're making an equation of a line, what we should do then, find the slope, plug in one of the points, find the y-intercept. So on here, find the slope. Subtract the y values, subtract the x values. So first I'm going to subtract the y values, right? And so that should be 3/2 minus 5/6, right? That's going to be the y values there. And I just have to evaluate that, make them the same denominator, 3/2 here. Maybe we update that to 9/6. Okay, and subtract. So I get 4/6. That's there, which is the same as 2/3. Okay, so there's the subtraction stuff. I can subtract the y values. When you subtract them, you get 2/3. Then we also need to subtract the x values. That's got to go on the bottom. So here we're going to go 2/3 minus the -3. So I'm going to put that down here. 2/3 minus the -3. So really we're adding 3 because of the double negative. So if we add those together, I'm going to keep it in fraction form because sometimes that's actually a little bit easier. So 3 is the same as 9/3. Add them together. We have on the denominator here 11/3 on that one. And now it might look a little bit weird because we're like, oh man, we got fractions on top of fractions. But we won't freak out because all that means is the fraction bar here just means to divide. So what that means is we really have, if I want to rewrite this, this is really 2/3 divided by 11/3, right? It's not too bad. So you guys know from the other one that what this really means, we can go ahead and change this a little bit here, that this will be the same as doing 2/3 times 3/11, right? Which is then pretty easy to reduce. We go ahead and reduce that down, and we get that we have, the 3's will cancel 2/11. So that means the slope is 2/11. All right, we're partway done. We found the slope. Now we need to find the y-intercept. So finding the y-intercept, our equation should look like this. Y equals slope times x plus b, right? So now we need to find out what that b value is. Okay, I don't know what it is right away, but we do have a couple of coordinates here. You can choose either of the points, right? We have 2 points over here that you can go ahead and pick. I'm going to pick the one on the right, simply because it has less fractions in it. There's nothing special about it. It just has less fractions, so maybe it'll be easier. I'm not actually sure if it'll be any easier or not. So I'm going to use this coordinate here. We're going to plug that in. And this is what I think somebody had asked. I forget who now. But somebody asked, how do you know what to plug in where? It's an ordered pair. X is first. Y is the second number. So -3 goes in for my x value. Right? 5/6 goes in for the y value. And then we just set the rest of it up. 11 plus b. And we solve for b. Okay? Multiply stuff through. That's -6/11 equals 5/6. Bum, 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 bum. And then we'll add the 6/11 over. Now they have different denominators. So 5/6, well, I suppose the denominator has to be 66, doesn't it? So here's 5/6 updated. We're going to add 6/11. Well, I need to update that. Multiply everything by 6 on that one. And then that's equal to b. So this stuff here being 91, if we add those numerators together, doesn't look like the greatest thing in the world, but we got there, right? That's the y-intercept. So if we want to be really, really fancy, the final thing, the whole equation of the line would be y equals, well, we know the slope, 2/11, x plus y-intercept 91 over 66. Okay, not too, yeah, conceptually not too bad, right? We're finding slope, we're finding y-intercept. That's the concept, right? Subtract the y values, that's the numerator. Subtract the x values, that's the denominator. But because there's a lot of fractions and stuff in there, that's what kind of gets us bogged down. We have to work with all those fractions. Take it one step at a time, and we work through those pieces. So yeah, it looks a little funny, but that's how we get through there. The other question was, Teresa had asked one here on that same page on 229, but number 38. She asked how to start it, but I'm just going to work. Woohoo! Let's put that back up there. Okay. Or I'm just going to work through the whole thing. So here it's saying we want a parallel line, and we want it to go through a particular point. That point, I'm going to actually write over here for a second, is negative 7, 0. And we want the line to be parallel to this thing, 2y plus 5x equals something or other, 6, right? So in order to make an equation of a line, we need both a point, at least one point, and we need the slope. Well, here we have 1 point, but we don't have the slope yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to steal the slope. Oopsie daisy. Let's keep that back up there again. We're going to steal the slope from this old equation, right? I'm going to steal it from this old equation, this purple one. To do that, I'm going to solve for y. That makes it easy to steal the slope. I'll subtract 5x, and then we will divide by 2, right? Negative 2.5x plus 6, right? So now I can see, ooh, the slope of this old one is negative 2/5. I can see that right there. So what that means, my new equation, right, has to be of the form y equals mx plus b. But guess what? This new thing has to have the same slope as the old one in order for it to be parallel. So I'm just going to put that right in there, negative 2.5. And then the rest of this here is just, well, negative 7, that's our x value. 0, that's our y value. So this becomes 0, right? X then y. And then we still have this plus b in the background. And we just solve that, right? So here we got, double negatives. That's going to be 2 times 7, 14. Half of 7 is 3.5. Add those together. 17.5. It's got to be what that is. It's equal to 0. And we have a plus b. So here, that's pretty easy to solve. There, we subtract it over. Meaning that the final result, the equation, again, should be y equals, we now have our slope, negative 2.5. We stole that. And our y-intercept is 17.5. Whoops, not positive though. So we got to subtract that over. I suppose it's got to be negative 17.5 when we solve it. Okay, so there's the end result there. We've made it parallel. Same thing with perpendicular lines. If we wanted to make it perpendicular, we would have to take this slope, and we'd have to say, well, this is really negative 5 over 2. So the perpendicular slope, which I'm going to do like this, would be to flip it over and switch it from positive to negative. If I wanted to make a perpendicular line, I would use the slope 2/5. But it wasn't perpendicular, so we can say, don't got to worry about any of that. Yeah. Okay, we don't have to worry about any of that. Okay, we have our end result. Let me know if you guys have any other questions on there.